Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Moyna Bass Fishes. I am Jim Moyna, professional bass fisherman. In this video, I'm going to recap my competition experience at the 2024 MLF Toyota Series tournament on Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma. There are two Lake Eufaulas that the national tours hit, the one being in Oklahoma, the other being in Alabama. So anyways, first off, I finished 72nd place out of 100. Okay, I realize that's not very good. It's not what I signed up for. That's not what the goals are. So it was a disappointing tournament. Reflecting back upon it, it really, it's really hard to say where I went wrong. I watched the live stream weigh-in, so there you get to hear from the top competitors, and they talk about the baits they use a little bit. So what I heard, a common theme was square bill, which I used, chatterbait, which I used, but not much in the tournament. In practice, and I wasn't getting bites in practice. Shaky head, which I did not use much of, and spinnerbait, which I used, and never weighed a fish on the spinnerbait, and frog, which the frog produced my best pattern, my best catch, but that was like 4 or 5 days before the tournament started, and my frog bite disappeared. It wasn't really working the last couple of days of practice and then into the tournament. But it sounds like the winner caught him on frog. So and then another guy talked about getting on a shad spawn, which I never saw one single shad spawn happening. So that's just, to me, that's just dumb luck if you fall into that, because I never saw it the whole time I was there. Although a couple mornings, I practiced like 7 days. A couple mornings I wasn't out there at the crack of dawn, which is what you need to be if you're going to see that. But anyways, I never saw it. So, but I was using a lot of I was using a lot of those baits. But the thing I primarily fished with was a wacky rig, and that was working. When they went off the frog bite, they went on that wacky rig bite, and that was the thing that was working. But that was still a fading pattern. So, but I still had 6 bites the first day of the tournament. So I think I was in 83rd place after day 1 out of the 100. But I weighed 2 fish. I had 6 bass hooked up, including like one close to 4 pounds that jumped right at the boat and through the hook midair. With those 6 bites, and that, I could have had like an 11-pound bag, somewhere in that range, maybe 12. But anyways, and that would have been a solid first day catch. Right there, right there at the cut line for quality. You wanted to be, actually, to make the final day, I think you needed just like 10 and a half pounds a day. So I was doing above average, actually, in the first day. So, and I was on a pace to make the last day cut. But then I went out on day 2 and only got 4 bites. Well, 5 and 6. So I guess I had 6 bites. 4 got in the boat. The other bite was, it was on a spinnerbait, and I don't know what happened, but with 20-pound line, fluorocarbon, the line broke right at the reel, which first of all, I've never broken 20-pound gamma before, and I've been with them for like 18 years. I've been using it for like 18. I've never broken 20-pound gamma, ever. It might have been 16. And I don't think I've ever broken 16, except on maybe a rusty dock post or something when I have a big fish hooked up, or barnacle. But anyhow, somehow it broke right at the reel, and I don't. And I didn't even put a lot of stress on that. I mean, I set the hook and it broke right at the reel, and really, I didn't even get enough force on the hook set to break anything. It broke like 4 to 6 pound test kind of a thing. So I don't know what was going on. It was weird. It might have been. I mean, sometimes when you have when you have a bad backlash and you don't see that you have a kink in your line or something happens to your line deep into the backlash. But I don't remember backlashing that reel at all, so I don't know what happened in that case. I absolutely do not know. And that line, I don't know. I mean, I caught other fish on it in practice, and that was one line I didn't change before the tournament because I judged it to be tournament ready line. So, not sure what happened there. The other fish that I had that last day, I set the hook on an eco rig and had him on for about a second and a half, and he got away. Have no idea what size it was. It could have been a non-keeper. It could have been a keeper. I just never got to lay into the fish that much to really get a judge on that size. The first day, those 4 fish came off were just, I mean, it was a killer. I mean, just how is this happening? To have 6 bites and you lose 4 and you only put 2 in the boat, that ain't gonna get you anywhere in this business. All right, but anyways, that's the way it goes. I mean, I'll just tell you what I caught. The first day, the 6 bites I had, the first big one I lost was on an eco rig. Then the other 5 bites I had, I think, were all on wacky rigs. Just a wacky stick worm. So that's how that went. It was not good. And I was throwing, I mean, other stuff in between. In fact, my primary pattern. This is probably what threw me off. This is what kind of really threw me off. On the 5th day of practice, so I practiced 7 days. So on the 5th day, which means I still had the 6th day and 7th day to practice. And the 5th day of practice, I caught like a 4.5 to 5 pounder out of a brush pile, and then I caught a probably like a 3.5 off of some deeper rock. So I spent, I mean, like 80% of my remaining practice hours on, on day 6 and 7, graphing and looking for that kind of stuff and fishing that stuff, and I never caught another bass in that depth of water. Never. And I was fishing, and I was looking for it in the same basin because there's different water clarities. So in this particular basin, I just couldn't get another bite in that depth. I don't know what the deal was, but I did revisit that brush pile a couple of times each day of the tournament. The first day it was kind of earlier part of the morning. I visited it. It was still cloudy, so maybe the fish weren't set up in it. But the second day, I decided I was going to wait for the sun to get up, and maybe that'll draw the fish to it better. And it wasn't until probably like 1 o'clock, midday-ish like that, where I hit it and hit a couple others, and didn't get any bites. So in that deeper rock pile where I caught the 3.5, no bites there. In fact, that's the place I started on the first day. I mean, we didn't catch nothing there. So that kind of, it just bad deal. Bad deal. Oh, you know what? I did get one other bite. I did catch one other 3-pounder off a deeper rock. I think it was it would have been. No, it was the next morning. Yeah, so it had been day 6 of practice. The next morning, I tied on a deep crankbait and I caught one. So I thought the deep crankbait was legit. But that was the only other deep cranking fish I caught. So, but it was misleading because the size was there, so it kind of misled me into thinking that if I just focus on this, I could maybe be targeting the right fish, because my frog bite had seemed to be faded away, which was shallow, and so I'm thinking, well, the fish are now transitioning to some of the deeper stuff, and that's what I look for. Even stuff, I mean, even kind of the mid-shallower range, I was looking for stuff on the graph, and it's just not, I mean, occasionally I might catch a fish on some of that mid-range stuff in practice, but nothing consistent by any means. So, and the spinnerbait bite, in practice, I could catch, every once in a while I'd catch a fish off a dock with it. That'd be a decent fish. The willow grass, I think they call it, the shoreline grass, that, I mean, I could catch fish out of that stuff, but they kept being small fish, you know, with that spinnerbait. Kept, you know, like sub-legal. We had to be 14 inches. I was catching like 12 inches on that. So it was, I don't know, a lot of unanswered questions on this one. So where does that put me in the points? I didn't even look, but because I know I did not qualify for the top 25, which you needed to be to go to the Toyota Series Championship. So I didn't get that qualification, which sucks. And with only 100 boats, it's so easy to post a good number. I mean, a lot of these Toyota Series tournaments have 200 boats, so it's way harder to post a good number when you got 200 boats versus 100. So it really was a golden opportunity to post a really good number to get that Toyota Championship qualification. So it really bums me out that I let that happen. I let this slip away, let the opportunity pass without me jumping on it. So, what else do I got to say about this tournament? I like the lake. The lake's got some off-color water to it, flat out muddy water, really. So I don't mind that. I like that because I know what to do. I mean, you take out your crankbaits, you take out your chatterbaits, your spinnerbaits, and that's one way to go about it, which I did a lot of that in practice. And I caught a sporadic fish here and there, but I wasn't able to just piece it together into something that I like, hey, this is what I should solely maybe seek out. But to my credit, I did throw, I was throwing a crankbait. It was a little deeper diver that first morning, first spot. And then after that, went to that brush pile. Then after that, I started cranking some shallower rock with a shallower, square bill type, and that wasn't working. And then finally, when I picked up a Nico rig and hooked that 3.5 to 4 pounder, and he came off, I'm like, well, maybe I'll stick with this Nico rig for a while. And I generated 6 bites. Would posted a weight that was reasonable, and it would have been a great weight to improve upon the next day. So even though I didn't make it, but. And what I did do on the second day, because I think in my competition day, my first competition day report, I mentioned that I wasn't sure if I was just going to go with brand new water and just pre-fish, or if I was going to revisit the same basin and just try to figure out my adjustments. So I did go back to the same basin, try to figure out the adjustments I needed to make, and I actually generated fewer. Well, I don't know that for sure, because I did have those 6. I did have 6 bites each day, but the thing is, the first day I knew those were keepers because I saw every one of them. And that second day, the 2 bites that I didn't see either one of those. Never really put enough pull on them to know for sure. And by the way, back to that spinnerbait story where the line broke on that fish. So I did, because it broke at the reel, I quick got on the trolling motor and I took my rod and scooped under the water to see if I could grab hook the line with it. And sure enough, I hooked the line, grabbed it, and got to where the line got tight. And I took about 3 pulls like this, and I could feel resistance. So like the fish was still on, and then all of a sudden it was not on there anymore. So I thought I was going to pull out the super lucky ducky, but Nope, it was. I thought seriously, because something was on there, and then it was off. So at least I got my spinnerbait back. All right, so what else do we got to say about this tournament? It was another soul crusher kind of event, which I'm gonna do a video about what's going on in this season with me psychologically, but that's gonna be a whole nother video, because there's a psychological aspect to any competition, and we're just gonna kind of take a little deep dive into where I'm at psychologically. All right, so, well, thanks for watching. You know, this is funny because, well, it's not funny, but I always like to pull out the rods and the baits that I got tied on and show you guys what I'm catching them on and this and that. But I always feel like if I don't finish in the money, then what's the point of, yeah, here's a bait that didn't work very good on this rod. Here's a bait that didn't work very good on this rod. I mean, that's, in a sense, that's useful information in a way. But I like to do that. I like to show you baits that worked, and then maybe here's some baits that didn't work, kind of a thing. At least give you something that works. But in these videos, and I've had too many of these videos, recap videos, where I'm not showing you guys baits, because what's the point, right? And I still think they're good baits. Oh well, bad decisions or something, man. Bad execution. All right, well, guys, thanks for watching and sticking to this season with me, because it's been a bumpy road thus far, and we're about halfway through it. I think I've had 4 Toyota tournaments, I've had 4 Bass Opens, and I think I got like 8 or 9 more tournaments to go. So that's 8 or 9 opportunities to frickin' fish, get out there and reorient things, get the ship pointed in the right direction, and get things going the right way, because it can be done. It will be done. Well, I mean, I'll do what I can to make it be done. Let's put it that way. But I don't understand with losing all these fish this year. Let's just put it this way. This is the last thing I'm going to say. So I've had 8 tournaments so far this year, and I kind of went through my mind each tournament and the fish that were coming off, and I'm not used to this at all. I mean, yeah, I lose fish like everybody does, but at this rate, at this percentage, and at this percentage of bigger fish. So out of 6 out of the 8 tournaments, I can say that I lost the biggest fish I had hooked, and in some of those tournaments more than once. And it just when it keeps happening, it just crushes you to a greater degree with each successive occurrence. Anyhow, that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Over.